Yo, Beth. That shit crazy.
On a Saturday, it's All Even with your boy Barry Grant. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at All Even Podcast. You can listen to the show on Podbeam as well as Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher. I'm all over the place. And trust me, go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment because the page is growing, baby. That All Even wave. Get on that wave. Don't get left behind. I'm tired of telling you. Lots to get into. We're going to talk about Chris Webber leaving TNT right before the playoffs. What does this mean? Juwan James getting cut by the Broncos. Phone a Friend is back with my boy Alfred from the RAPLAB podcast as well as the Metropolitan Report. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. So let's just jump right into it. The NBA playoffs are right around the corner. And, people are excited about it. We're all hyped to see what's happening with the play-in game and who's going to play who and blah, blah, blah. But there's other things that are going on as well. The people that call the game, they're important. It matters who's calling the game because it gives more flavor to the game, the actual drama, the suspense. Chris Webber has not been one of the best commentators in his tenure with TNT, but he's actually really gotten good over the last year and change or so. He has personality, he speaks his mind, very knowledgeable about the game. That was never in question. But now he's gone. Chris Webber and TNT mutually parted ways, so he's not going to be calling any NBA playoffs. And, for me, it's like, man, it's kind of bad timing or ill timing. Like, why now? And we don't really know, but, we can probably put the pieces together, right? Webber and TNT had a little bit of disagreement in regards to covering the NCAA tournament. He had some issues and didn't want to do it, and, TNT wasn't too happy about it. So that could be the reason, or maybe Chris Webber has something else in mind. Maybe he has another deal in the works that is better than what he got from TNT. But the reason why I bring this up is that, is Webber's walking away from TNT a smart decision? I would say it's a mixed bag. TNT is a way bigger platform than he's ever had in regards to his commentary career. He's done very well here. He's gotten a respect here. So what would make him leave? Well, I'll tell you, the ability to move up, the ability to be in a bigger role than you're currently in. If TNT didn't have other plans for him to kind of move up the chain, then if he has bigger aspirations for himself, then you got to move on. And that's respectable. That's fine. That's how we go about life. When you're in a job and you feel that you can be able to do more and earn more, and you go to your boss or your whatever and you say, hey, I would like a raise, or can I get promoted or something like that? I earned it. And they look at you like, nah, we don't really know that. Maybe we have somebody else in mind, but, we can discuss this at a later date. You can either say, okay, or move on. I think Chris Webber's at that point where he's just like, I'd like to move on to another place to get another opportunity. So kudos to Chris Webber. I really enjoyed him on the TNT broadcast, and I hope that he ends up landing somewhere soon because, I really do like his commentary. Definitely way better than Jalen Rose or anybody else like that. But moving on. The Denver Broncos have cut Juwan James for tearing his Achilles off-site. Outright just cut him. Like, what are we doing here? So because he wasn't at the facility, they now want to void his contract. So he's going to the Players Association, filing a grievance, and he has every right to do that. He might have tore his Achilles, but he definitely is going to have more than two legs to stand on with his claim, with his case, because it's meritless. You're trying to tell me that a player that is in the offseason, they have their own trainers, they have their own training regimen, now they're going to have to go back to the facility to train Guys don't do that, as well as they like to spend time with their families in the off season. I spend 7-8 months in this city or in this town or whatever at this facility, and I have to spend another additional 2 or 3 months here as well? That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. Like, what is the NFL doing? Like, is this a thing? Or is this a Broncos thing? The man wasn't playing basketball when he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't riding a motorcycle when he wasn't supposed to. He was training and hurt himself. That's like somebody who can be able to wake up out of bed, make the wrong turn, tear something. You gonna void their contract too? What's the reason? Oh, well, yeah, he woke up out of bed and turned the wrong way, so we're gonna have to like cancel his entire contract. Yeah, he went on the bus and tripped over somebody's foot, and now, he's in a cast. He tore his Achilles, tore his ACL. Yeah, we're gonna have to void the contract. Yeah, what happened was when he called customer service and got mad, yeah, we're gonna have to void. Like, what? What are we talking about here? Like, it's like they're coming up with any and every excuse to not pay people now. It's bad enough guys don't have guaranteed contracts. Now that they're really trying to get out of the entire contract. Yeah, well, he tore his Achilles while playing with his daughter and teaching her how to ride a bike. We can't pay him now. Can't do it. What? Are we kidding? Oh, are we joking here? Gotta be joking. But am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. Because this is what the NFL does. This is why a lot of people say that the NFL is a bunch of slave owners, and it feels like that. It feels like a chain gang. I can't blame people for thinking that way because of reasons like this. They're already not getting paid guaranteed dollars through the duration of the contract, and now you saying that you have to practice on site, do any football-related stuff, or else you ain't going to get paid. You're going to get your contract voided. Well, okay, let's up the ante then. When a GM makes a bad trade or a bad draft pick, you get your contract voided. When an owner does something egregious, like, say, some racial insensitive stuff, or he's in a sexual misconduct lawsuit or something like that, then he should have his team voided, right? No, all of these things should be in play. Yeah, it's always the players that have to fall on the sword. Nobody else has any ramifications in regards to what their actions are or what they do. No. You can't be with your family. You can't train by yourself. We need to watch you. That's like Medicaid or Medicare, like when you're trying to get benefits and all that. No, you gotta see our doctors. When you get into a car accident, you gotta see our lawyer. You gotta see our doctor to make sure we check you. Can't go to nobody else. No. Like, what? Like, let them train what the hell they want to train. If I live in Saskatchewan and the team is in Florida, I'm not going to Florida to go train. I'm staying my ass home. What are we doing? But like I said, am I shocked? No, I'm not shocked because it's the NFL. No fun league for a reason. Coming up after the break, Phone a Friend with my man Alfred from the RAPLAB podcast, as well as host of the Metropolitan Report. On a Saturday, it's all even.
Yo, it's your man DJ G Money from that Flip the Script podcast. You see it? We in the studio right now. Flip, shut up. Yeah. Whoa, listen. Shout out to the All Even podcast. My man Barry Grant Jr. What's up, man? What happened? What you want to say to the people?
Shout out somebody else's podcast?
Yeah, don't make it the joint. What's up?
All Even.
All Even podcast.
Yo, it ain't even up here, boy. We put this. Yo, what's up, man? All Even. Yo, you. Oh my God. What's up with you, man? Now that's a shout out. You keeping this?
Yeah, keep all that. You want to jump in
All
the
Even
camera?
podcast, right?
Yeah, All
Shout out
Even.
to All Even podcast, right? All Even. That's your man.
My man.
All right, shout out to All Even podcast. You cool?
100%. He cool. Is he cool? Let me see. Is he cool?
Yeah. What are we doing, G? Oh. I shout him out, G.
He cool, man.
Welcome back, y'all. So let's get to my favorite segment, Phone a Friend.
Call him up, 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 call him up. Competing for a reason, trying to stay undefeated, yeah. Call him up, 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 call him up. Biggest game of the season, don't lie with all
Who we have on the show today is a very good friend of mine. He is a fellow podcaster, host of the RAPLAB podcast. He's also the host of the Metropolitan Report. That's where I get my Mets news from. He's very, very opinionated. He's my man. Welcome to the show, my man, Alfred.
Hey, Barry. Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate the invite.
Of course, man. You know, I had to get my homie on here. You know, I've been on your show, and it was great. You know, I was able to get out my Met grievances and express my concerns. So now you could be able to do that on my platform. So definitely great to have you here. So let's talk about your origin story, like how you kind of came up with 2 podcasts. You're doing 2 podcasts right now, which is pretty decent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the first one, the Rap Lab, we talk about hip hop. Is me and my good homie Chris, aka QG, and another good friend Eric. And basically the way it started, we were in college, myself and Chris, and all our lunchroom conversations was just centered around rap. Right. When I first met him, and I vividly remember this, the very first conversation we had, I overheard him talking to somebody about Tupac's All Eyes on Me album, and I just jumped in the conversation, and we was just going back and forth, debating, boom, 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 boom. So
right,
yeah. So 10 years later, we was in his basement in January last year, 2020, and the idea just hit me. I'm like, yo, we talk about this stuff all the time. Why we just don't record it and put it out there?
Right.
So then that's how that came about. We did that with our guy Tio, but then he moved to North Carolina, and that's when Eric, who had been on the show a couple of times, came in as a permanent host to take his place.
Yes, sir.
So,
shouts to both of them.
Yes, sir. And then the Metropolitan Report. I've been a lifelong Mets fan. My mom actually was a lifelong Mets fan. My mom actually, it's crazy because she attended one game of the '69 World Series, and she attended one game of the '86 World Series.
Wow.
And went to both victory parades. So, she always telling me stories about the good old days. So I'm always here.
The Tom Seaver days.
Bro, when I tell you, I'm always having discussions about Cleon Jones and Ed Kranepool and Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry and Keith Wilson and Keith Hernandez. Like, she don't want to hear nothing about this current team until they win.
So how does she feel about DeGrom?
She loves DeGrom.
Okay.
I mean, out of the current guys, she loves DeGrom. She loves Pete. So, and she was a Syndergaard fan up until 2019.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I remember when you started the Metropolitan Report, and you had a whole bunch of questions, and it's been really good. Like I've seen the growth since you started to now. Like you're comfortable now. You know exactly how you want to sound. You know exactly what you want to say. So I'm always locked in, man. I'm always locked in to what you have to say on the Metropolitan Report. It's a really, really good podcast. So y'all check that out. So I guess before, go ahead and give yourself a shameless plug. Your social media and all that.
So pretty much for the Metropolitan Report, we're on Instagram, the Metropolitan Report with an underscore in between each word. And then the Rap Lab is on Instagram, Rap Lab Pod, all one word.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. So I guess we'll discuss the Hall of Fame with Kobe Bryant. Right? Your thoughts about him going in. I know that you're a big Kobe Bryant fan. So how was the feeling for you to hear the announcement that he was actually going in, and the fact that he's now in? Like, what does that do for you? Does it give you any closure? Because for me, I'm a big time Kobe Bryant fan myself. I watched him when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I went to Philly and saw him play Lower Marion, and that was it for me. Like that, everybody was a Jordan fan. I never, was a Jordan guy. I was a Magic Johnson fan. And then when I watched Kobe, I said, that's my guy. And it never changed from that point on. So, what are your thoughts about the whole enshrinement?
Well, I was a Kobe fan in every phase of his career, from the kid to Froby to the Black Mamba. I just like Kobe. For me, Kobe was basketball. Like I started watching basketball like my vivid memories of watching basketball are in '96 because my dad was a huge Bulls fan, like most of America at the time. But
if not everybody, right?
if not everybody, but when I saw Kobe play for the first time, and he had done he did some type of crazy dunk, and I was just like, whoa. And then I saw and I vividly remember watching the '98 All-Star game where he was going toe to toe with Jordan. I remember watching that with my pops, and I'm just like, I don't know, Jordan might be done.
Right.
Nah, as a lifelong Kobe fan, I felt it's well deserved. I feel like obviously he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, and I'm gonna say this, and it might be controversial, and people listening to this might be crazy, but when you look at his final career numbers, that man got robbed of an MVP. No shade to Steve Nash, but
listen, that's not controversial at all. That's facts. That's facts.
Steve Nash's second MVP should have been Kobe's first.
Right. Steve Nash's first MVP should have been Shaq's or LeBron's, and then his second MVP should have been Kobe's. So
I don't understand how a guy, I guess because they didn't make the playoffs they got bounced in the first round that year, but the man averaged 35 points a game.
35.4 points a game. And what did he finish? Did he finish second in the MVP votes that year, or was
second?
He?
Yeah.
Okay.
And look who he had on his team: Smush Parker, Chris Mim,
Slava Medvedenko,
Kwame Brown. Like, sheesh.
Yeah.
But man, when I tell you that I took it really hard the day that Kobe died.
I did too.
Because I had so much Kobe memorabilia. I got 3 Kobe jerseys that I own. One from his rookie season in purple, one in yellow for 24, and I even got his Team USA number 10 jersey.
Nice.
So, man, that was a hard day for me.
Yeah, it's a hard day for a lot of people, man. Like I took it rough as well because I didn't speak about Kobe Bryant for a year. And I didn't watch the funeral that he had. I didn't watch anything. And I was on this podcast, and I then did my little Kobe dedication. I think it was like a 15-minute clip, 15-minute segment that I did on Kobe. And, it was the first time I really talked about it because it still bothers me. You know what I mean? It still bothers me to this day because it's like a guy that I looked up to in regards to how I approach life, because he attacked the basketball court so aggressively, and he didn't care about friends and all this. He cared about being the best. And you can be able to apply that in any aspect of your life, whether it be in your career, whether it be, you playing a sport, whether anything like that Mamba mentality that everybody talks about now. Like it's cliche to talk about now. That's real. It's always been that for me. And that's what I learned from him. I remember, being a kid growing up and being small and having that Napoleon complex and playing with that chip on my shoulder. Like I played with that Kobe Bryant aggression because I was so small, and also because I looked up to the guy. It was double for me. And, the fact that he evolved so much in front of us. Like, we saw him as a kid, 17-year-old kid, and he grew up in front of our eyes. The man became a father, became an NBA legend, and then he was doing all of his stuff off the court as well in regards to his film production and winning the Oscar and, being in Gigi's life as a coach and, kind of spearheading her basketball career. And, everything was kind of going in that direction. It was just like, it was so beautiful to watch somebody being able to grow up like that. And you can be like, you felt a part of his life at every step. And when he died, it was just like, man, there's no more Kobe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no more Mamba. Like, it just doesn't feel real. Like, you see all of these other legends, bro. You see them. Dr. J still here. MJ still here. Chuck is still here. Pat's all these guys you can be able to hear from and talk to, or, you can hear them talk about basketball, talk about the current state of the game. But Kobe's not here. He'll never be here to be able to break down film again. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna make a confession. So when The Last Dance popped off last year, And he was in the beginning of one of those episodes. I think it was episode 6.
Yeah.
It started at the 98 All-Star game. To see that they actually interviewed Kobe before he died for the project, I actually, upon seeing that, like, I actually teared up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it was an emotional moment for me, man, because those might be the last recorded Kobe moments we ever got. So
Right. Yeah, definitely, man. It'll always be tough for people who really loved them, really respected them. So it'll always be a somber thought when I think about Kobe Bryant. It's basically like a family member. Like you mourn him not being here. You mourn him or her not being here. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna check it out. We'll see. We'll see. I may need to give myself a little bit more time on that. But I'm really happy that he's there with the other legends.
yeah,
Because he deserves to be.
he deserves it, and it's a shame for such a great player how he struggled those last 3 seasons of his career.
Well, I mean,
after you tear the Achilles, that's a career threatening injury in and of itself. The fact that he was even able to come back, but then his body just started breaking down. He tore the rotator cuff after, and even his last season, he struggled to get through physically.
Well, but that's what I like, though. I like that because what that showed me is that he gave everything.
Yeah, and you could even see it. And
right.
I said this after his 60-point game, the last game he played against Utah. I said, yo, he looks so gassed. You could tell he has nothing left.
He gave everything he had to the game. That's why guys like AI, guys like Kobe Bryant, guys like MJ, they gave everything to the game. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, like you can tell. Like look what happened to Larry Bird at the end of his career. He could barely walk because that back was so bad. He had to lay on the floor. Like that's how much he gave to the game. He gave his body for basketball.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant came from that ilk of player. He grew up watching those guys, and in his mind, he was like, in order for me to be great, I got to do that. I got to do that and more. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel bad for him watching those last few years. It felt like an old warrior that gave everything that they possibly could. And that one last battle, it's just like, all right, if I go down, that's it. You know what I mean? I've done all I had to do. You know what I mean? So that's how I like sports. I like guys to be able to give it all, and you can see the attrition. You can see them being the wear and tear. That's life. You know what I mean? Like that's what it takes to be great. That you give it all, and your body just says, "Hey, listen, it's time for a vacation. I'm out." You know what I mean? So I definitely I enjoyed every part of Kobe's career. I really did.
Consummate professional.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you ask for? You know what I mean? Like I'm not one of those people that like to buddy up on the court and shake hands and exchange jerseys and all this nonsense that they're doing now. Like, let's have some old school. I don't like you today, but after this game, we can go get a beer. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, we need more of that in sports. I'm tired of seeing guys exchange jerseys. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It really is. It really is. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
The jersey exchange, it kind of gets. I'll tell you this: if a player is on his way out, like a couple of years ago, D Wade said, "Yo, I'm done after this season."
Right.
That's understandable.
Right.
But for a guy who is still going to be around for a couple of years, like LeBron and Trae Young exchanging jerseys, like, yo, what's going on here? or Devin Booker and Luka Doncic exchanging jerseys, like, yo, what's going on here? Like,
right. Or somebody exchanging jersey with Zion, like, what you just got here? You just got here, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Like, if a player is on his way out, okay, I understand, but not for two active players, man. And like you said, I'm not a fan of this whole I'm friends with everybody in the league.
Right.
Because you go to the 80s, you really think Magic Johnson was going to get on the phone and call Isaiah Thomas and call Larry Bird and be like, hey, guys, I want to win a ring. You guys think we should?
No.
You guys think we should team up? No. It actually made for more interesting battle when the guys didn't like each other.
Right. And the thing is, they were cool. Like, Larry and Bird became best friends Larry and Magic became best friends
After their careers were over.
during the careers. But they weren't friends on the court.
Right.
You know, Magic and Zeke were best friends off the court, but once they got on that court, it was war. It was war.
Why do you think there's no rivalries in the NBA today? Because everybody's friends.
Why do you think there's no rivalries in any sport anymore?
Well, baseball, you've got rivalries.
I don't know, man. Like
Yankees, Red Sox, bro. It may not be what it used to be, but it's still a rivalry, bro.
Yeah, but it's watered down. I don't like the watered down rivalries. I don't like them. I don't like them.
Nah, they had to water them down after Pedro threw down Don Zimmer in 04.
Nah, I like that. I like that. That's sports to me. That's sports to me.
Assaulting an old man is
when you're on the field, it's all right. If Pedro had assaulted Zimmer outside of the baseball field, then we talking about something else. We on the field, it's war. Your old ass is not even supposed to be on this field anyway. Stay your ass in the dugout and don't try to be a tough guy, because that's what happened. Zimmer was out there trying to be a tough guy and he got laid down. That's what happened.
That's true, but
that's what happened.
As far as rivalries in sports, the only thing I could think of is Dodgers Padres now, because of the exchange with Bauer and Tatis, but
even still, it's like
but listen, man, the Giants Dodgers has always been big.
Dodgers is big. Yeah,
those fans fight each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, but as far as like the NBA and even the NFL, I guess Green Bay and Chicago in recent years, because Chicago's been so bad.
But even still, even in the NFL, it doesn't feel like the fans make it more than what the players make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's I need to see sports get a little bit more gritty again. Like I love that. Like I miss the Knicks Miami Heat days when it was fights. I miss that. That. You know, Malice in the Palace was a little extreme, but I miss the fights. I'm not gonna lie to you. I miss the fights. That's why I like hockey, because at least we get coordinated fights. At least we can get that. But it's something that
in MLB you've had a couple of bench player altercations.
Yeah, you get some stuff where guys are throwing gloves at each other and they're swinging and missing. You know what I mean? Like
shout out to the grown ass man Dom Smith, by the way. But hey man. I miss rivalry in sports, because I feel like as a fan, rivalries is like, it would get you hyped. Like as a Met fan, like back in the day when the Braves was coming to town.
Oh, it was war.
It was war. In
Chipper Jones. You had Andrew Jones.
Yo, I used to shout all the way from my seats all the way up in the Jesus section, as I like to call it, all the way up there. I used to shout at Greg Maddux, bro, in Shea Stadium.
Listen, remember when John Rocker got there? Oh, man.
They hated John Rocker because he made those comments about the 7 train. People that ride the 7 train.
That dude was the most hated man in America.
Yeah, goodness. They said he was a racist and this, that.
Yeah. But listen, it made for good TV, man. It made for good baseball. So, that's what I'm talking about. It's like we live in a society now, Alfred, where guys really can't be themselves anymore. Like, I understand that what we did maybe 30 years ago is not particularly quote unquote acceptable anymore, certain aspects, but you still can be able to be yourself. Like, this is why I like Fernando Tatis so much, because he brings that energy.
Yeah.
That cockiness, that I know I'm better than you. I'm going to hit this home run and I'm going to look at it. I'm going to pose. I'm going to flip my bat as high as I possibly can. And I don't care, because that's what baseball used to be. Not saying the whole bat flipping thing, but there was personality in baseball. Yeah.
Same reason why I gravitate toward Tim Anderson.
Right.
The swagger, the attitude.
Right.
Like, and it's not only that, but it's like the league itself. Like, for example, when Jordan and the Bulls played the Pistons and all this elbowing and shoving and all physical contact.
Listen, the Jordan rules were born in that series.
Yeah. So you can't play basketball like that in today's. Like if Bill Laimbeer was in today's NBA and he did what he did to Jordan today, they would kick him out. In a flagrant 2.
No, they would kick him out. He'd be suspended for a year.
Yeah. So even in the 90s, like you used to be able to hand check. That's why I think Gary Payton was so successful defensively. You can't do that in the league anymore. Now if you even blow air on a guy,
Right.
It's a foul. So, like, I feel like the leagues, them with all these rule changes throughout the years, they also made, because now nobody's hard fouling each other. So okay, we could be friends on the court too.
Exactly. We might as well be buddy if I can't knock you through the the stanchion. If I can't knock you through the stanchion, let's be friends.
Although there are some instances where guys just do boneheaded things like Luka kicking dudes in the groin, but the hard fouls, man. I miss the physicality of the old days.
I do too. Now, what are your thoughts on the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather situation? What are your thoughts? Because you know how I feel about this. How I feel about this.
I know you don't like the sideshows, but
yeah,
I'm all for the sideshows.
Come on, man.
Listen, you know what it is? I'm a Mayweather fan. Like, in my personal opinion, like I was only a kid when Mike Tyson was fighting.
Right.
I never saw Ali because I wasn't born yet.
Neither did I. Yeah.
So, but Mayweather has always been my favorite fighter. Like, I was
why?
The whole package is entertainment. Because now
you think he's entertaining in the ring?
Not in the ring. Outside the ring, he is entertaining. The whole money team thing, I love it. I love it. But in the ring though,
yeah,
his defense is so impeccable.
It's one of the best.
He's the best defensive boxer I've ever, and I love boxing. I watch almost every fight I can.
Yeah.
Whether it's ESPN Friday Night Fights or HBO pay-per-view.
Right.
So, but like Mayweather just can't be hit. And that's what I respect, because a lot of people, the casual person who's not a boxing fan, they think that the objective of boxing is to knock somebody out, which is incorrect. The objective of boxing is to not get hit.
Right.
That's why they call it the sweet science, because there's a science behind it.
Correct.
So Mayweather with this impeccable defense, like, it's just so impressive to me. The Mayweather hardly has ever even touched the canvas. I don't think he's ever like used Rembrandt in his life. Like, he may not knock guys out, but he's on point. He knows what he's doing. He's undefeated. Granted, people say he cherry picked opponents. He should have fought Pacquiao 10 years sooner. He should have fought De La Hoya sooner. Like, oh, whatever.
All right, I'm gonna have you upset with me right now, Alfred. You ready?
What are you gonna say? Lay it on me.
You ready?
Go ahead.
All right, I just want to know if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Floyd killed boxing.
How'd he kill boxing?
Floyd killed boxing.
All right, the McGregor fight, I didn't understand why that happened. That took place.
Here's my point. Here's why I say that. You just made the statements for me. He fought De La Hoya when he was an old ass man, when nobody cared. He fought Pacquiao when nobody cared about it anymore. When that fight was hot, when that fight was supposed to happen, it should have happened. It didn't happen. Why?
Pacquiao got tested positive for horse steroids, didn't he?
It don't matter.
If I'm undefeated, why am I putting my undefeated record up against a guy who can't stay clean?
Because you are a pound for pound boxer. Here's the thing. This is boxing. We all know the end. Like, what is the end goal in boxing? If I'm the best pound for pound, I have to fight the next best pound for pound so I can see who's actually the best pound for pound boxer. Not, I'm going to stay over here while you stay over there and we're just going to, no. Floyd killed boxing is what I'm saying. What happened, hear me out. How he approached the game in regards to these big money fights that weren't really big money fights, all the other fights that were going on were grossing no money. They were grossing no interest. All because everybody was looking at this circus over here. The sport in itself decided that they were going to invest all of their resources to put into Floyd's circus. And what they did was they destroyed the sport in the process. That's one. The other point, the boxing has, there's all the reasons why the sport was down. But Floyd has a part in why boxing is where it is. So whether you want to disagree with that there's stuff to be able to back that up, man.
You know what's funny? You blame Floyd for killing boxing. I blame a whole totally different set of people for why boxing is dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's different reasons. He's not the sole reason. What I'm saying.
Would you agree with me if I said the Klitschko brothers killed boxing?
100%.
I feel like they held the heavyweight division hostage for so long.
Here's the thing, though. Can you blame the Klitschko brothers for that, or can you blame the American boxers who weren't good enough to beat them?
My thing is,
think about that.
The promoters tried so long to get a title unification fight.
They wouldn't fight. I respect that, though. They're not gonna fight each other. My thing is that when boxing was at its apex, we had great American heavyweights.
True, Foreman,
Riddick Bowe, Holyfield, Tyson, the list goes on. You don't have that anymore. You didn't have that back then. You had a dearth of European guys coming over here dominating the sport. That's why the heavyweight division was down in the dumps, because there was no great American fighter. If there was, it wouldn't have went down like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the fact that you had two European brothers who dominated that division and refused to fight each other to get a title unification, I can't blame them. I understand that it destroyed the sport. It helped, kind of like sink the sport down, but I don't blame them for not fighting each other. I blame Floyd for not fighting the guys he was supposed to fight. That's who I blame. He ducked a lot of people for the Money Mayweather. Because remember, he wasn't always Money Mayweather.
No, he was Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the beginning. So, but to counter your point though, that fight that he had against Pacquiao was in one of your favorite places, AT&T Stadium, and it was the highest grossing fight in the history of boxing.
But that's always my argument with people. When I said that the Jake Paul and the Logan Paul and the Floyd Mayweather fight is a circus, people killed me on YouTube, right? Killed me on YouTube, killed me in the comments, say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, it's making money. Who cares? Is it your money? Is it my money? What do I care about how much money it's grossing? It's a circus. Circuses gross money too.
I will tell you this. My father is a huge boxing fan.
Does he respect Floyd?
No, he does not.
Exactly.
It's funny because my father gave Tyson and Roy Jones a chance, but he's not giving this a chance.
Yeah, and you know why he gave that a chance? Because it's two over-the-hill boxers fighting each other. It's not a boxing, quote-unquote, great fighting a YouTube guy or some guy that's in a bar. That's not what it is.
Wait, why is Mayweather quote unquote great though? You don't respect Floyd at all? His undefeated record don't mean anything?
How does it mean anything when you didn't fight the people you were supposed to fight?
But look at the names he's beaten. He's beaten Sugar Shane Mosley.
Over the hill.
Zab Judah.
Over the hill.
Felix Tito Trinidad.
Over the hill.
Manny Pacquiao.
Way over the hill when he fought him.
Maidana twice.
He shouldn't even have fight Maidana. Next.
Victor Ortiz.
Shouldn't even have fought him.
Wow. Canelo,
he fought a young Canelo. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Canelo was undefeated when he took that loss. So.
Yeah, it was that loss did not harm Canelo, nor did it do anything for Floyd. So that's a nothing fight to me. Next, give me one epic fight this man had. One. I'll wait.
All those I named were epic, no. In my opinion.
Epic. We're talking about anybody that's a boxing enthusiast will say that's one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. You can't.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I heavily despise Conor McGregor. So The fact that I saw him lose by ref stoppage, I was like, yes,
bro. Just think, like, listen.
When he fought the kickboxer in Japan, that's when I started to look at Floyd funny. Because I'm like, what was the point of that?
Money. It's all about money for him. Like, and listen, I understand that he's protecting his pocket, but I don't understand the fans' point of view when they talk money. It has nothing. It's not your money. What you're doing is that you're paying into this and feeding his pocket. So how is it good if he's the one making the money. I'm looking at it from an objective standpoint where I'm saying, how is this good for the sport of boxing? It isn't. It isn't. I had an argument with one of my boys. He's like, oh, well, if this allows fans that don't watch boxing to be interested in it, and then these boxing fans now turn and watch real fights, then it's done its job. Is that what's happening, though? Are people that are watching these fights actually turning to the WBC? Are they turning to these professional fights? Are they doing that? They're not. So how is it what is it doing for the sport of boxing? It's a paycheck. Okay, cool. It's payday.
This is why I feel like what is that? I feel like when the PBC struck that deal with Fox,
yeah,
that was a good thing for the sport.
It was.
I don't know why. I don't know if the contract ran out, but they haven't done one on Fox in a while. But I feel like stuff like that saved boxing. There are a lot of good fighters. Like I'm a huge Danny Garcia fan.
Very good guy. Very good.
So I'm a fan of the Charlo brothers. So
yes, they're good.
So you got some good talent. It's just that, Floyd is like wrestling. Floyd is the draw. You put his name on the marquee and people are gonna buy a ticket, people are gonna buy the pay-per-view.
But that doesn't mean it's good.
No, I agree with you. It doesn't mean it's good. But I mean, boxing's been in a state of decline for such a long time. Right. And especially because, boxing, you're restricted to your fists. And now with the prominence of UFC, when I talk to people, I'm like, yo, do you watch boxing? No. You watch UFC? Oh, hell yeah.
But why do we watch UFC? We watch UFC because Dana White gives you the fights that people want to see.
Not only that, but the action is much more exciting. There are times you watch a boxing match, the first 3 rounds, you see nothing but hugging.
Well, I mean, listen, if your boxing has always been, yes, UFC has come in and has captivated that gore, that bloody, stimulation that we need as fans. Like, we always like the car crash. We always like the physicality.
Right.
They match that. I understand that.
And there are certain aspects in sports that are going to catch people's attention every time.
Yeah.
The slam dunk in basketball, the home run in baseball. And then for boxing, it's supposed to be the knockout. But the way a lot of these guys fight, a lot of fights are ending in decisions. I've seen a whole card on ESPN Friday Night Fights where nobody ever got knocked down.
But that's okay, though. That's okay.
But in UFC, somebody's either always getting knocked out. Somebody's always getting choked out.
Yeah.
Very rarely you ever see a fight in the UFC go to a decision. So I guess because, and it's funny because I actually went to the Barclays Center when they first opened up and had boxing, and Danny Garcia was on that card, and there was a whole fight. There was no knockdown, nothing. The crowd started booing.
Right.
By like the 7th or 8th round. So
but you got these people that are just, they don't understand the sport anymore. I think the fan base that are watching sports, they don't understand boxing. They don't really understand it. Like, the generation that I came from, or the generation before me, that they understood the sport. And that's why it didn't matter to them if things went to the scorecards. As long as you got 2 great fighters in there, it was all about jockeying for position. It was all about feeling the other guy out, seeing how how this guy is going to be able to counter, how you're going to counter, how you're going to be able to win the next couple of rounds. That's the game. Like, this is why everybody can't watch golf, right?
Golf, I know a lot of people, bro. I've tried, because I watch golf.
I watch golf too, but certain people can't watch it because they don't understand it. They expect it to be something else when it's not. Boxing is what it is.
Yep.
It's a science. It's a mastery. If you don't want to see the totality of it, everything that it has to offer, then go watch UFC. But don't. It's just
you know what it is. I feel like people's attention spans are too short.
It's in a toilet, bro. It's in a toilet.
I even baseball. I have very few friends that have an interest in baseball
Me
They
too.
said they can't sit down and watch it because it's boring.
Right.
I personally find baseball to be exciting with all the strategy, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But a lot of these sports, like even tennis, I know people that say tennis is boring. I don't find tennis boring.
Tennis is not boring at all. At all.
So
At all.
hey man, listen, I feel like until we get people that understand the sport, like you said, boxing will stay where it's at, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we'll continue to have circus events like this one.
Yeah, because, and I think like your friend said, this is an attempt to get eyes on a boxing match.
Yeah,
which I feel is wrong because after this match is over, people are going to go back to doing what they were doing anyway.
Exactly. So, you know, the whole Jake Paul thing too. I got your hat. Like, what are we doing here? Like, yo, I seen Floyd. He took off his hat. First off, his hairline is just he just needs to stop.
My
like,
man should have went to the barber.
I don't know. Like, I've never seen Floyd look like that. That was crazy. And the fact that you even wasting your time with a dude like Jake Paul, like, yo, that is like when you think about the timeline of Floyd Mayweather, this is going to be on his timeline that he fought, because I'm sure he's going to fight Jake Paul too. He fought 2 YouTubers.
To one of their credit, to Logan's credit, man, he put Nate Robinson down.
You talking about Jake?
Yeah, he put Nate Robinson down.
Who is Nate Robinson?
Former NBA slam dunk.
He's a basketball player. He don't throw hands. You don't throw hands. Listen, I have more interest seeing 2 people on the street fighting than Nate Robinson against Jake Paul, because at least those 2 people in the street have equal opportunity to knock each other out. They don't come from some other background. This dude's a professional basketball player. What are you doing boxing? You think that you could be able to just pick up gloves and throw hands? That's not the way things work. We saw what the brawl for all was in WWE. We saw what how that shortened careers. That's exactly what this is. It's a circus. It's a complete circus. And Floyd is the reason, because if Floyd was not attached to it, nobody, you couldn't
it wouldn't gain traction.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a nonsense. It's all him. Him.
Last point I want to make. So, like I said, my dad is a big boxing fan.
Who doesn't respect Floyd? Respect that man. I love him. I love your dad.
And he said to me, do you think Manny Pacquiao would participate in this type of stunt?
Hell no.
He said that's why he can't respect Floyd, because if anybody took boxing seriously, they wouldn't take a fight against some no-name guy, as my dad would put it.
Exactly. You think, rest in peace, Marvin Hagler. You think he would have did this? Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray, like none of these great fighters would have did this. None. But Floyd, because he cares about the money, he will do anything. He will do anything. Remember, he was talking about going into an octagon a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
Who wants to see a little behind the octagon? You're like 5'4". I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. That would be something I would never want to see, because it would be quick. It'd be over quickly. Enough of Floyd. Let's move on to the NBA. The playoffs are coming up. What are your thoughts about the current state of the NBA? Who do you like? Who do you think has a chance to win the championship outside of the quote-unquote big teams or the big contenders?
I'm going to go with the dark horse. I think the Utah Jazz have a solid chance.
What is wrong with you?
What do you mean, what is wrong with me?
What is wrong with you?
Is that a serious question?
Yes. This is a serious question. Utah?
You don't like Utah? They're playing a solid basketball.
It's Utah.
I mean, yeah, in their history, they have solid regular seasons and don't do anything in the playoffs, but
Alfred, it's Utah. They could be 70-2. It's Utah. They ain't never gonna win nothing. It's just like when I said about Gonzaga in college basketball. Everybody, Gonzaga's gonna win the national championship. I was always here saying, just wait. It's Gonzaga. They will choke when you don't expect them to. I know this team. It's Utah. They don't have a shot in the world.
I mean, I don't have, after last year's playoff performance in the bubble, I don't have faith that Giannis in Milwaukee could win the big series.
Why not?
Playoffs. Giannis has a history in the playoffs of not. I wouldn't say Giannis specifically, but the Bucks the last couple of years, man, they don't show up in the playoffs.
That's fair. But here's where I'm gonna try to sell you on my Milwaukee Bucks here, because I have Milwaukee and the Lakers still in the finals, in my opinion.
The Lakers?
Yes. We're gonna get to that. Milwaukee over the last couple of seasons, 100% agree with you, right? They had the best record in the NBA the last 2 years. Giannis has been the best player in the NBA the last 2 years. Won back-to-back MVPs. Cool. But the team did not have another dog. This year, nobody's talking about Milwaukee anymore, right? All you hear is Brooklyn. You hear Philadelphia. Everybody's talking about how good the Knicks are, right? In the West, you got Utah, you got Phoenix, you got Denver, Clippers. Yes, people talking about how the Lakers look wishy-washy, but nobody's talking about Milwaukee. But here's how I'm going to sell you on Milwaukee. Eric Bledsoe was the point guard last 2 years. He's no longer there.
They have Drew Holiday.
They now have Drew Holiday, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA at the point guard position. He's
Correct.
actually a career 20-point scorer. The guy is a leader. He's a dog. He can be your second scorer. This is exactly what they needed at their point guard position. Now, here's the other point. They traded for P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker is the defensive stalwart, the bulldog that you need to be able to shut down the guys that are the top scorers on your team, right?
Not to mention, don't leave that man open in the corner for three.
Exactly. So now you got Drew Holiday as the second guy, the leader who can be able to create his own shot, create for others, play good defense. You still have Giannis that is able to do what he does. You now have PJ Tucker to be able to be the bodyguard for Giannis, to be able to protect him, right? And now Chris Middleton, who everybody's been criticizing as he's not a number 2 guy. He's not a number 2 guy. He can't be trusted as a number 2. He now can be able to fall down into that tertiary role, that number 3 scorer's role, where he can be confident and do his thing. So now you got the balance that they haven't had the last 2 years. This team, I'm telling you right now, Alfred, put it on wax. It's going on the podcast. It's going out there. Milwaukee will beat the Brooklyn Nets. Sign it.
Well, I don't think the Nets are going to get far either, because
sign it.
The funny thing about Brooklyn, everybody's looking at the big 3, right? They're looking at KD, they're looking at Harden, they're looking at Kyrie. A lot of people realize the 3 of them haven't played together that much.
7 games.
Yeah, they and then people are like, oh, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin in 2021 is not the same Lob City era Clippers Blake Griffin that we all knew, loved, and remembered.
Blake Griffin, he should change his name to Chad Griffin. He's not the same guy. He is that plane has been parked. He's not flying over anybody. He's not doing all that stuff no more. He's not the same guy.
Blake out here looking like Taylor, but
yeah, exactly. He looked like his brother.
but people don't realize they've only played 7 games together, so we don't know what their chemistry is going to be. Also, Steve Nash is a rookie head coach, and by the looks of it, he lets his players run precedent over him. We saw when early in the season when Kyrie went missing,
yeah,
and they asked Steve Nash, "So you spoke to Kyrie?" No, I haven't heard from him. You spoke the next day. You spoke to Kyrie? Yeah, we're letting him do his own thing.
Kyrie has more PTO time than anybody in NBA history.
Bro, I wish I could go to my job and be like, I think the earth is flat, so I'm gonna take a couple days off.
Yeah, you come to work or just shout a text. I just don't feel like being there today, so I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
And then the composition of their bench scares me, because outside of Joe Harris, I don't really believe in any of those guys.
Well, I have a boy that's a huge Nets fan, Alfred. Shouts to my man, Peter Bishop. He is like a Nets insider. He knows everything ins and outs of this team. He loves the new guy, Mike James. He loves, I think Spencer Dinwiddie may possibly be back as well.
I don't believe that. Not a torn ACL.
Right.
The same season.
I would not have him play, but who knows? We'll see what they do. But I agree with you, man. I think depth is going to be a concern for them in the playoffs.
Yeah, because look at their bench. Nick Claxton, Landry Shamet,
right?
Who I every time I watch Landry Shamet play, I question his basketball IQ because he does some questionable stuff. But their starting center is DeAndre Jordan, which I think was a bad move. If you should have traded anybody, it should have been DJ and kept Jared Allen.
Right.
Jared Allen is a tenacious rebounder. When I heard they gave him up, I was like, nah, these guys are crazy. And then they went and they signed LaMarcus Aldridge, and LaMarcus Aldridge couldn't even finish the season. So it's just like I don't know what's going on with these guys. Bruce Brown is okay.
Bruce Brown's all right, yeah.
But if there were other contenders, I don't think if there were other contending teams in the league, I don't think he'd make their roster.
So all right, so if you don't like Brooklyn in the East, you don't like Milwaukee in the East, who is your team to get out of the Eastern Conference? If you say Philly, we're gonna fight.
No, it's not Philly. I think the dark horse sleeper is Miami.
Yes, I actually like that.
I think the dark horse sleeper in the East is Miami. Miami, they lost in the finals last year. I think there's some redemption. I think Jimmy Butler wants to prove it's not a fluke. And look how they ended the season. Like Udonis Haslem makes his season debut and gets thrown out. By the way, I have a huge hatred for Dwight Howard. So the fact that it was Dwight Howard that he did that to,
listen, feel good, don't talk about my man D12. All right, the fact that he got us a championship last year, I respect.
Got us a championship.
He contributed to the Lakers run. So shouts to Dwight Howard, man. Shouts to Dwight.
I am a huge Laker fan, but I hate Dwight Howard for what he did to us the first time when he didn't re-sign and went to Houston.
Listen, you gotta forgive. Alfred. If I can forgive him for doing that, and he came back and he was a vital piece of this team last season, we led the league in shot blocking because of Dwight and JaVale.
That man saw Kobe was too hard on me.
Yes, he was sensitive. Yeah, we all know that Dwight's sensitive, man. But he redeemed himself. You gotta give people second chances, man.
listen, man. But nah, Miami, and I like them a lot. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. You know, like I like those guys. Duncan Robinson. I like those guys a lot, man.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree.
And they've got a healthy Dragic for a playoff run.
Healthy Dragic. So we'll see. You know, the fact that Oladipo's out, I don't know. They're saying that he may be out for next season as well. I don't know if Oladipo's ever going to bounce back and be that guy that he was when
he was in Orlando.
Not even in Orlando, when Indiana traded for him. When Indiana traded for him, and he was that 20+ scorer every year. He was an all-star for a couple seasons, and then he got hurt. You know, I don't think he gets back there, but can he be a solid role player for a team coming back? Definitely. But, you know, I feel bad for him. But what are your thoughts? Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Wizards? Do you think the Wizards have a chance to make any noise in the playoffs?
No.
Not at all.
I don't even watch Wizards basketball because outside of Westbrook and Bradley Beal, ain't nothing to watch. The Wizards are not an entertaining team. Like they don't do anything. Yeah, Westbrook, we'll clap it up. Triple-double king, the master of the triple-double. But he's doing that and it's not he's getting these triple-doubles and it's not translating to wins. So what good are the triple-doubles?
Well, I mean, right now it is, but
yeah. They struggled most of the season.
Well, think about it too. They had a lot of COVID concerns early on. They had a time where they had like 6 guys on the team.
Well, Philly did too, and overcame it.
But Philly has more talent. You know what I mean? Philly has
also
way more talent. Philly has way more talent. So the fact that new parts, COVID, you got to work Russell in. Russ was hurt to start the season. You know, I spoke to Alex McLean. Shouts to Alex McLean, assistant coach for the Washington Wizards. He was on All Even Live exclusive. And, you know, they've had a ton of concerns going through the season. And now they're starting to find their groove, and Russ is playing well, and Bradley Beal has been consistent the entire year. So maybe they're peaking late. And that can be a concern for some teams in the first round. Not saying they're going to beat anybody, but this is not the traditional team that you would want to play as a lower seed. They can be able to steal a couple of games from a Brooklyn Nets team or from a Philly. They can be able to steal some games here.
Well, in my opinion, because now all the seeds have been set in the East playoffs, the Charlotte Hornets are going to be dangerous in that play-in tournament.
Listen, don't get on this LaMelo Ball train, okay?
That's the rookie of the year, sir.
Don't do it. Just stop, okay? I'm tired of you people in the prisoner of the moment. LaMelo Ball, all right, he's good. He's good. But
that's your rookie of the year.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You combine him with Gordon Hayward.
Michael Carter Williams at one point was a rookie of the year too. You know that, right?
LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, Bismack Biyombo,
Bismack.
Like they're a decent team this year.
I can't with you people, man. Shouts to my man Jerry. My man Jerry Davis. He's a big LaMelo Ball fan. Every time he does something spectacular, he hits me up. He texts me. He sends me a video. And it's nonsense. You know, you guys have to stop. The kid is good.
I have been
is good, but you gotta relax.
I'm gonna put you on a personal story. I've been a Ball fan since Lonzo was in UCLA.
Oh, come on.
Hold on. I supported the whole Lithuania movement.
Come on.
And I'll admit it, I bought a couple of shirts off the Big Baller Brand website when it was a thing.
Listen, shouts to the Big Baller Brand, but Lonzo to me, listen, what are your thoughts on Lonzo? Like, do you think that he can find his way in the NBA? Because he's having a good season. But the thing with me about Lonzo, Alfred, is that when you look at his numbers, I think he's averaging like 14.5 points, 15 points a game, 5 rebounds, but 5 assists as a point guard. He was supposed to be this transcendent passer of the basketball. I'm not seeing it. I actually see transcendent passer of the basketball with LaMelo. I don't see it with Lonzo. 1, 2, I don't think he's a leader. When you play the point guard position and you're not a leader, that's a big concern. How does he find his way? Because he's in a contract year. I don't see the Pelicans giving him a big deal. What team is going to give him a big deal to be their point guard? Your thoughts?
I feel like from the very beginning, even when he was in UCLA, I feel like he was unintentionally sabotaged by LeVar. All that talking, and I feel like Lonzo felt the pressure at least at that time, and that's translated to his below expectation playing. So I don't know if he'll ever find his niche in the league. He might end up going down the Austin Rivers route and end up being a guy who's good enough to make a roster and good enough to be a role player, and he'll bounce around the league his entire career. But I don't know. I feel like, because as you notice, LeVar don't talk about LaMelo, and LaMelo is shining like a diamond.
Right. But he doesn't. To your point, I don't think he had to talk about LaMelo because he's always said that LaMelo is the best out of all of them. He's been saying that from day one.
Like you'll hear him talk about Lonzo, especially when he was on the Lakers. All he ever did was it's funny because they had the NBA had to make a media rule called the LeVar Ball rule because LeVar was just going crazy.
Right.
But yeah, between that and I don't know, I feel like the Lakers gave up on him too early. That's also another thing. And I feel like that kind of Really?
I don't think so.
In hindsight, if they had to trade anybody from that contingent, obviously I'd have kept Brandon Ingram, or if Ingram had to go, I would have shipped Kuz and kept Lonzo. But that's just me.
No.
Kuz is making some boneheaded plays.
So does Lonzo.
Yeah, but Kuz's offenses are more egregious in my opinion.
Kuz is all right, think about it. If we would have kept Lonzo, right, instead of Kuzma, where does Lonzo play?
Yeah, you're not gonna play Lonzo over Schroeder.
You can't play Lonzo with LeBron because Lonzo can't shoot. He's not a knockdown shooter. That's the problem. Like LeBron needs knockdown shooters to play with him. Kuzma, although he's not a quote unquote knockdown shooter, he can hit the three better than Lonzo can.
Yeah.
He can create his own shot better than Lonzo can.
That's also true.
Not a better defender, but I think Kuzma brings a little bit more value than what Alonzo would have brought. And here's the thing too. I saw this post about all of the Laker kids playing well. Randall, Brandon Ingram, Clarkson, Lonzo, Zubats, all of them are playing well, and the Lakers drafted all of these kids and they didn't keep any of them, right? But everybody's like, oh, do you think the Lakers would have been good? No, because the thing is, the Lakers, we are an organization that we don't wait for development. It's
No.
either you show and prove
Or you're gone.
Or you're gone, because it's about getting the stars, getting the superstars. This is our formula. Our other teams try to match our formula. This is what the Lakers have been doing since the dawn of time. Since the dawn of their existence, they get stars. They always are going to get stars. So it's not about developing talent here. They were never going to develop. Brandon Ingram was never going to be the guy that he is now on this Laker team. Julius Randle would have never been the guy that he is now, possibly a all-NBA second or third team this year if he didn't leave. Lonzo, the same thing. Clarkson, the same thing. Zubats, the same thing. The guys had to leave to get time to develop.
Yeah.
Because that's what they needed. They needed time. It wasn't the fact that they weren't good. If they weren't good, we wouldn't have drafted them.
Not to mention when all those guys you named were all on the Lakers roster together.
Team was terrible.
They were young and immature.
Right. Young and immature, did not want to play defense, didn't want to commit night to night. They would have a great game one night and then they get blown out by 40 the next night because there was no consistency in regards to how they played or how they saw the game. So
not only that, look at the veterans that they were surrounded by.
Right.
A broke down Ron Artest at the end of his career.
Right.
Robert Sacre, Ryan Kelly.
Yeah.
Wesley Johnson, Xavier Henry, and the list goes on. Not guys who are role players on other teams. Those are not necessarily guys that you could learn anything from.
Right.
So,
exactly. So it's like, guys, sometimes you have to leave a place to actually find your way. And this is what happened with these kids. So, shouts to them. They're doing their thing, but they were never going to do that here. Nope. It just wasn't going to happen. So let's go ahead and segue into the Lakers. So you said that the Lakers are looking shaky. You have some concerns. As two Laker fans here, go ahead and spread your concerns to me so I can be able to debunk every one of your concerns right now. Go.
Well, number one, you said a couple of weeks ago on the show that the Lakers are the equivalent of that kid on the block who says, wait for my brother to come, wait for my cousin to come.
Yes.
And I think, and that's what they're doing with LeBron because, the band is not all there at the moment. My biggest concern, though, is LeBron really ready to come back? Or obviously he's coming back because he has to, because the playoffs are approaching. My thing is, we don't know how good that ankle feels. True. LeBron, in his history of being an NBA player, the only other injury he's ever had where he's missed this much time or more
was the groin injury.
Was the groin injury 2 years ago.
Right.
And then everybody also has to remember LeBron is up there in age.
36.
LeBron more than anybody has more minutes and wear and tear on his body because he's been in the playoffs almost every year of his career. He's played basketball for Team USA. There's no telling how much basketball related stuff he had to do when he filmed Space Jam.
Right.
So, and we don't know how well this ankle has healed, if it's even healed at all. So that's my biggest concern. And I feel like if LeBron can't do it, or LeBron, like he just can't, his performance is not LeBron-like.
Yeah.
The rest of the team is not going to show up either, because there are times AD has had some pretty lousy games since he's been on the Lakers. There have been times where I've seen AD, and I know you've seen it too, ending the game with 4 points, 8 points. So And then also like the rest of the team, Caruso has been dealing with or Caruso, or the bald mamba as I like to call him. He's a huge fan favorite in my eyes, but
Right.
he's been dealing with injuries this season. Schroeder has been in and out of the protocol. Schroeder is trying to play for a contract, so we don't even know where his head is at.
Don't get me started on that guy.
Mark Gasol has been a disappointment all year.
He's played well the last few games, though.
The last few games, but all season he's been a disappointment. Montrezl Harrell, the guy's the reigning sixth man of the year from a year ago, and it seems like Frank Vogel can't find minutes for him in the rotation, which is mind-boggling to me. So, and that also goes to show because LeBron's been out, so LeBron's not coaching. He's actually letting Vogel coach.
Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say that Vogel's not the coach. Hey, Vogel's the coach. Don't do that.
Listen, everywhere LeBron is gone. You think Eric Spoelstra was calling them plays in Miami?
Yes, I do. Eric Spoelstra is a very good basketball coach. So let's come on now. Come on now. Don't do that. If you want to say LeBron is the GM, just say that.
You think Tyronn Lue was the coach when they won the finals?
I mean, Tyronn, he didn't have to do much coaching.
So
you got LeBron and you got that team. You didn't really have to coach that much. You didn't really have to coach that much. Look, see, the thing is, with LeBron has such an IQ for the game, Alfred, that you don't need a coach for him. You need a partner. You need somebody. It's like how I view LeBron and how he looks at the game is how I looked at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning didn't need an offensive coordinator. Peyton Manning needed a guy that can be able to work with him and say, hey, Peyton, what do you think we should be able to run here? I have these plays that I think that would be good in this situation. What are your thoughts? And Peyton will say, okay, well, let's take something from here. Let's take something from here. And let's kind of combine that. And then I'll figure it out. Okay, that sounds good. That's what LeBron James is. LeBron James has never had a great coach in his NBA career. Never. He's never had a great coach because it's not needed for him. You need the great coaches for the other parts. You need the guys that can be able to communicate and stuff. That's why Jason Kidd works. That's why what's my other guy's name? I can't remember his.
The Lakers assistant coach.
Yeah.
Phil Handy.
Phil Handy, Lionel Hollins. Like those guys work because those other guys need to be coached up. LeBron don't need that. You don't need that. He needs somebody that can be able to say, "Hey, Bron, I want to run these particular things. What are your thoughts on that?" And LeBron will be, okay, I like this. Like, that's how much of a savant he is for the game. So, it's more of a partnership. It's not more of him getting coached. It's more of a partnership. I agree with you in regards to certain things. I think the Marc Gasol deal has not worked out. I remember when it happened. I was okay with it. But I do think that JaVale was better because JaVale allowed us to have that rim protection that we needed. JaVale's
more lengthier too.
More lengthy. But the one thing about Gasol that keeps him above JaVale is the basketball IQ, the passing ability. He can be able to find open guys with that passing ability. He still is a pretty decent one-on-one defender in the post. In the pick and roll, not that great because he can't move his feet. So there's a give and take here. With Harrell, I like Harrell, but the problem with Harrell is that Vogel was giving him minutes at the 5. He's 6'7". How many people is he going to be able to guard at 6'7"? Now, let me tell you where Harrell is going to be very important come playoff time.
Yeah.
When teams go small, Harrell is going to be in there. Harrell and Morris are going to be the guys that get a lot of minutes because it's about I think when Rob Pelinka was putting this team together, Alfred, it was all about playoffs in mind. It had nothing to do with the regular season. It was about how versatile can we be come playoff time. Because remember, when JaVale and Dwight were on the team, there was a full series that both of them didn't play.
Yeah.
They didn't play against the Blazers. They didn't play against the Rockets.
JaVale barely appeared in the finals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They barely appeared in the finals. So we now have a team that's more prepared for smaller lineups. And I understand how he went. Now, has it worked out in regards to them being a great team this season? No, but they're deep. They can be able, if they get right, the Lakers are still, to me, the best team in the West.
Even though they're fighting to avoid the play-in tournament.
Well, think about it. I think the play-in might be a little better for them because if they hear me out. After thinking about it, if they end up finishing 7th, right? They either play Phoenix or Utah. Do you think that the Lakers will beat Phoenix?
I think so.
Do you think that the Lakers can beat Utah?
After what I said earlier, I don't know.
Okay, you still think that Utah is a little better. I feel that the Lakers will thrash Utah. 5 games. 5 games. Phoenix probably go 6. If the Lakers finish 6, they now have to go against the Clippers or the Nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel the Lakers against the Nuggets?
Lakers are gonna win. I feel like
Right.
the Nuggets are lost without Jamal Murray.
There you go. Lakers will beat the Nuggets. How do you feel about Lakers and Clippers?
That one could go either way, honestly.
Can go either way. I'm still giving the nod to the Lakers.
Well, no, you know what? I give the nod to the Lakers because they call him playoff P, but he's way off P when
way off P. Waldo George, whatever you want to call him. I can't listen, Alfred. I'm gonna have my shirt made up. It's gonna have his face with the "Where's Waldo" hat. It's gonna be great. The glasses. I can't wait to get those shirts done because I can't wait till Paul throws the game. Paul George is gonna throw this playoff like he always does. I can't wait. But like I said, me going through all of those scenarios, I just gave you the Lakers look good in every one of those scenarios. So the play-in doesn't really matter to them. Really doesn't. So okay. I think if they're healthy, they'll be fine. The thing is, I thought about this with LeBron, and LeBron is a wizard in regards to how he thinks. What I mean by that is that he said he's never had an injury that felt like this, right? He never had an injury that felt like this. He may not be 100% for the entire duration of his career. Right. I think that's BS. I think that that's a guy that wants people to believe that he's weaker than what he actually is.
Oh boy, here we go.
Call me crazy, but you.
So this is the equivalent of Bernard King coming down the tunnel. This is the equivalent of Paul Pierce leaving in a wheelchair.
Exactly.
And hopping back up.
Exactly. We're gonna see LeBron James flying around, blocking shots, looking like LeBron James, and everybody will be like, "Well, I guess he's healthy." Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. So I'm not worried about the Lakers. I'm really not. The thing. What I was more concerned with, and you listened to the podcast, you heard it, is that I wanted to see them not use it as an excuse. Play the game like he's not coming back.
Right.
And I saw that a couple of games before LeBron came back. They started to play better basketball. They started to not focus on who's coming back. They started saying, okay, this is what we have. This is how we're going to figure it out. This is how we're going to win the game. This is what I wanted to see from them from day one. So the fact that I saw that, I'm a little bit more confident in what I potentially can see in the playoffs with this team, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? But
you're more optimistic than me.
Yes. I listen, that may change in a week or so, but right now I'm a little bit more optimistic. But let's go ahead and segue into baseball. Me and you are Lakers as well as Met fans. We love our Mets. What are your thoughts on the current state of the Mets? They just lost last night to the Tampa Bay Rays in extra innings, but they looked very good in that game. Like you said off air that Peterson must have listened to you, and he pitched one of the best games he's ever pitched in his career. Like, what are your thoughts on the Mets right now?
Well, first off, that win streak they had in the homestand.
Oh, it was amazing.
That was amazing.
Right.
Shout outs to the king of the RBI fielder's choice, Patrick Mazeika, by the way.
Mr. Slappy.
Yo, that guy may never get a base hit, but if the bases is loaded and the game's on the line, pinch that man in.
Yeah, he'll make sure he'll hit it 2 feet and get a game winning RBI.
Oh yeah, always a fielder's choice. But
Yeah.
no, the Mets are playing real good. I mean, they're down right now. Tampa is having a 5-run bottom of the 4th right now. But the Mets, I think they're good. I think they benefit from playing in the NL East, which I like to call the 500 division, because every team in that division is barely at 500.
Right.
So they benefit there, but that win streak did a lot for them. The bullpen has been great. Who would have ever thought that Jerry's Familia in 2021 would have a sub-1 ERA?
Right. Listen. I listen to the Metropolitan Report all the time. You were trashing him in spring training, trashing the man.
It's spring training, and it takes him 35 pitches to get out of 1 inning. So,
but remember when we were talking, what did I say to you? Don't worry about spring training. Let's just focus on the season and see how you can be able to look during the season. So,
true.
I feel you, but man, we have to enjoy the wave, because what he's doing right now is phenomenal.
But there's been, even though he can't hit worth a lick. Albert Almora, that guy is a teammate I would want to have if I was playing baseball.
Listen, he literally will run through a wall for you. Literally.
That man took himself out in an effort to get it out against Baltimore the other day, which that says a lot, because some guys will see the wall coming and they'll stop short.
Right.
He just smacked right into it. So, but even the starting pitching outside of Peterson has been pretty consistent. Stroman is pitching well. Taijuan Walker, who I didn't understand why they signed him, and I said this on the Metropolitan Report.
Yes, you did.
In spring training, I didn't understand why they signed him, because he came from places that were not. He didn't pitch. He did not pitch well in Arizona or Seattle.
But he is an innings eater.
He is an innings eater. As I said a couple episodes ago, though, I feel like he is a 5-inning pitcher.
Yes.
He is a guy who he will pitch lights out the first 5 innings, and then he'll start to get tired in the 6th. But I think that's because he's fresh off Tommy John. But yeah, Peterson, I don't really, even though he pitched a good game yesterday, I'm anybody can have a lucky game. I'm not convinced. I think he wanted to prove me wrong after he saw that video. He said what?
The dog, the sun will shine on a dog's ass on occasion.
Yeah. DeGrom being on the IL, I thought was going to be a bad thing, but they've been winning without him.
Right.
And he's only on a 10-day IL. It's not like it's 60.
Yeah, it's not a huge concern. I think putting
it's a preventative.
Yes.
It's a preventative move, because you got to remember DeGrom's been eating innings. Right. He's been striking out people like nobody's business. So
he's been hitting.
He's been hitting. By the way, I said this on the Metropolitan Report too. Don't be surprised if DeGrom wins Silver Slugger at pitcher. First Met since Mike Hampton to do so.
Right.
The team, and now the offense is starting to wake up.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because 2 of the best offensive players are on the IL, Nimmo and Davis. So you got Pilar hitting, you got VR smacking home runs. Pete has woke up. Conforto's starting to hit.
Right.
The only one that I'm worried about is the $341 million man.
You got to relax, okay? You got to relax on my man, okay? When I was there, he gave me a home run. I was there in City, and he gave me a home run. That's all I needed. The guy, you have to see, Met fans, we have PTSD. We understand that certain things go against us historically.
Yeah.
And we always think about that. We always have the Jason Bay stuff in our head. We always have the Luis Castillo extension in our head. We always have the Oliver Perez stuff in our head. Like, it's about, guys come here, they sign these big deals, and then they don't do anything after. Give them time. The guy has been in the American League his entire career. It takes time to adjust to National League pitching. It really does.
The guy's batting 189, Barry.
But it's better than 162, right? It's going up. So I'm telling you, we all know, if you follow Lindor's career closely, when he gets hot, he gets scorching hot to the point where his hits come in bunches, his home runs come in bunches. Let the guy get his feet. If he's not hitting, at least defensively, he's solid. He does not give up anything at shortstop. And that's what you're looking for. If he was a
Ray Ordonez never gave up anything at shortstop either.
And we got to a World Series with his defense, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah, but he's not expected to hit like Lindor is.
But that's what I'm saying. But you got to give him time. Like you can't just expect the guy to roll out of bed, change leagues, and hit 350. It's not gonna happen. It's a long baseball season. It's still pretty cold outside. Like, yeah, they're in Florida right now, but once the time gets warm, like if he's still hitting below the Mendoza line in July, then it's time to be concerned. But right now, listen, the first year in New York, I'm gonna give him some leeway. I'm really gonna give him some leeway the first year in New York. Like, look what Beltran did his first year in New York. He didn't have a good year. But what happened the following season? He had a tremendous year.
Until he struck out looking in the
we're just talking about the production in the regular season. Let's not talk about the playoffs. We got there. We didn't make the World Series. Cool. But the guy was productive to the point where everybody was thinking about him as an MVP that year. How good he played. Right? Right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. And what was the thing with him? Basically played in the American League his entire career. That's basically how it happened. So you have to gotta give him some time.
Well, no, that's not true.
He went to Houston for that little while, but I'm saying like it was only a little hiccup in regards to his entire career.
Yeah,
like what I'm saying, like he was an American League guy. You know what I mean? And then he went to Houston. He did what he did in Houston, and then he went to the Mets. But Lindor is an American League guy. Give him some time, man. Like as New Yorkers, we always have this thing where we don't want to wait. We can't wait. As Met fans, we should wait. We should be waiting. We should be like, hey, take all the time you need and get right. Because when this team gets together and gets right at the same time, we can do some special things. There's no rush. There's no rush. We have them for a decade. There's no rush. There's really no rush.
Hey, man, listen, all I know
20,
is
what is he, 27?
20. He'll be 27 this year.
Come on. There's no rush, bro. There's no rush at all. At all. Do you think the Mets are going to win a World Series this year?
Anything's possible in baseball.
No, but of course. But in your mind, do you think that they would win a World Series?
Not this year, no.
Not this year. So,
but then again, I'm pretty sure Nationals fans at the start of 2019 didn't think their team would win a World Series either.
Yes, but we have to be realistic to what we're seeing with our team. This is a young team, fairly. It's a mixture of veterans and young guys, but it's more young guys than anything else. Let's get this team right. First off, let's get the coaching right, because I don't think you already know how I feel. Luis Rojas, not the guy. Not the guy. So if we can be able to get the guy as manager, maybe, just maybe, things will be a little different. But I don't think he's the guy, because when you have your $341 million guy bunting in multiple games to get the runner over,
especially after the previous at bat was a home run.
Right. You can't blame Lindor for that. He's doing exactly what his coach is telling him to do. It's BS. You don't take the bat out of your best hitter's hands. You don't do that.
I agree.
So, there's a lot of things that kind of like work into this. Lindor is trying to be a team player as well as try to live up to the contract. Could you imagine what type of pressure that is on that guy? Let's give him time to figure it out. Let's give him time to figure out how to be a star in New York first. It's tough. It's not easy here. We saw how the spotlight ate up Matt Harvey. We saw what it did to him. So let's
the spot. It wasn't just the spotlight. It was the partying at 5 a.m. when he scheduled to start at 1 o'clock.
And the hamburgers and everything else. Yes.
Yep.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like it's about giving this guy time to get his feet wet in New York. He's only been here a little while. Let's not try to compare him to somebody else. The guy's good. He's doing what he has to do. He's struggling at the plate, and he's still trying to be a consummate teammate and do the little things to help the team win. I can't ask for anything more, honestly, because at least when Jason Bay wasn't hitting, not only was he not hitting, but he was playing terrible defense in the outfield too. So it was worse. It was worse. His mind was all screwed up. His defense was all screwed up, and his bat at the plate was all screwed up. At least Lindor is giving me some great defense. He's giving me some good on-base percentage. He's giving me some nice camaraderie in the locker room. Still have that big smile on his face. I'm all right with that. I'm all right.
And slapping Jeff McNeil, you're okay with that too?
I'm okay with that because in regards to when you have teammates, sometimes you got to fight. Sometimes you have to fight to get over things. Yeah, sometimes you got to fight. I'm okay with that. Listen, Jeff Kent and Barry Bonds fought all the time. They love each other. They love each other.
Kobe and Shaq feuded, and they love each other.
Listen, that's all right. Jordan slapped up Steve Kerr in practice. It's okay. Sometimes things have to happen. Sometimes you gotta slap your teammates up a little bit. You know, something. Okay, cool. You have a disagreement. I have an issue with you. Let's fight it out. And then after we scrap, we're good. There's nothing wrong with that. We talking about men here. It's not boys. It's men.
Well, that fateful night, they did that I believe that fight sparked the win. So
there you go. It sparked the win, and it also continued a win streak. So did it do its job? Hell yeah, it did. Hell yeah, it did.
I agree.
So this is what I'm saying. As Met fans, we got to relax.
I know it's only May, but I'm trying to hold. I want us to hold on to this first place position as long as possible.
I'm not concerned about May. I want them to make sure that they're in the race come August. Once August gets around, that's all I care about.
I've always been a proponent of win as many early games as you can, just in case you end up falling apart toward the end of the season.
Well, that's fair, but at the same time, too, think about that. Think about what we're expecting to come back. Lugo is starting to pitch, right?
Yep.
Cindy's coming back. At some point, we're going to get Carrasco back. This pitching staff is going to be loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded. There's a lot to look forward to come summertime. I can't wait for the Mets. Can't wait.
Who knows?
Now,
we might get an all even live from Citi Field.
Listen, man. Who knows? Who knows? As crazy as I am, I may just do it. But this is what I wanted to talk about with baseball. What is your current opinion of the current state of baseball? Not just in New York, baseball on a whole.
I think out of all the sports, I think baseball. How do I word this? I think baseball is doing it right. Like what I mean is, I've always been a proponent and a big fan of the way baseball does their free agency. Okay. I've always enjoyed the no salary cap.
Okay.
If you have the money for guys, go get them. You shouldn't be penalized for or limited to what you could get because of a cap or a luxury tax, right. which I think is bogus. I feel like baseball lately, because it's clear we're out of the steroid era for the most part.
Yes.
I feel in between all the sports, you really see less controversy from baseball nowadays, or less fan complaining, you know? Like there's not like in the NBA, the biggest complaint is, oh, everybody wants to team up. You don't really see that in baseball. Or in the NFL, you know, like I said, the salary caps are capping things. Like I feel like baseball is the least problematic sport out of the three, now that we're out of that steroid era.
Okay.
My only issue with baseball is the diversity. I would like to see more people that look like you and I in Major League Baseball.
100% agree with you. That's my biggest concern.
Like, and I understand, because in urban areas, basketball is the easiest thing, because you could go to any park and there are courts there, there are hoops there. All you need to do is go to Dick's Sporting Goods, or not even there. You could get a basketball from almost anywhere.
Right.
Whereas baseball, like basketball, you can play 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3.
Baseball, you need equipment, you need players, you need
yep.
Yeah.
You can't play baseball with less than 9 guys on a field and,
Right.
and a lineup of 9 guys on the other side.
And the
You-
average baseball glove costs like hundreds of dollars. Like, you know
Yep.
what I mean?
And not even that. Like you said, equipment is expensive. You're gonna need bats. You're gonna need gloves. Bro, I it's funny because I went to Dick's Sporting Goods a couple of weeks ago, and one baseball, regulation MLB baseball is $45
That is ridiculous.
for a baseball. You can get a basketball for $20.
Right?
You could get a football for 30.
Right.
And then even football, you don't really need anything because a lot of these kids play two-hand touch like we
Two-hand
did back
touch.
in the day.
Exactly.
You don't need anything for that other than a ball and maybe
So
about
$20, $30 for a ball, and you're good to go. You know what I mean?
But yeah, baseball, you could
It's
share
expensive.
one bat, but everybody needs their own glove.
Yep.
So
They need spikes, you know.
and you need cleats.
Right.
And then on top of that, like you said, the fields, look at where we're at, New York City. It's a concrete jungle.
Right.
And then if you do happen to find a baseball field, I feel like a lot of these fields, especially around where I live, they're all neglected. Grass needs cutting.
Right.
Need new dirt. So
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot, and like I said, in a lot of urban areas, they gravitate toward basketball and football because it's more accessible. It's easier and it's cheaper.
No, I agree. And this is why, you know, the fact that they have Ken Griffey on the case, I hope that he can be able to really bring more eyes to the sport for people that look like me and you. Also, you know, I had Luis Lopez Jr., former major league player, on All Even Live exclusive, and he has a organization, the New York Nighthawks, that helps kids from the inner cities. You know, it takes kids from everywhere and allows them to play baseball, and it be cost effective for them because, you know, the average travel team, you know, it costs like $3,000 for a kid just for him to play baseball. It's crazy.
And then not only that, but I'll even bring it to this point. Like we said earlier when we were talking about boxing, a lot of people think watching baseball on TV is a drag because there's not a lot of excitement.
Right.
People don't like to see these scores with a 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 finish.
Right.
So, like, it's the attention spans are real short because people want to see people. I think people have this image stuck in their heads of when Sosa and Bonds and McGuire and Griffey were all chasing the home run record. Every game was like 3 to 4 home runs, but from one player. So I think people are still, like, the casual fans, that's still stuck in their heads.
Facts.
Because you don't have a lot of that anymore.
Yeah,
so
true.
Like it's just interesting to me. And then also the disparaging thing, like living in the hood, living in the inner city, urban places, I'll see people walking around with fitteds from MLB teams,
but they never watched or played a baseball game.
They never watched a baseball game. They never played a baseball game. They can't tell you. I saw, like, even this morning going to get breakfast, I saw a guy in a Colorado Rockies hat. If I walked up to him and probably asked him about Trevor Story or Charlie Blackmon, he wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of these guys because the hat matches their clothes. That's why they get them.
It's the culture.
It's the culture. And also, I feel like TV plays a big part in it. So, like, back in the day, and I know I'm sounding old, but like every Saturday it was an MLB doubleheader on Fox.
Right.
Now they're not even on regular television. The NBA, at least, you know, they're on ABC, and you can basically, like, if you have a video game console or some streaming service, you can get ESPN relatively cheap or for free. So, you know, people like the NBA is accessible. The NFL, they take up CBS and Fox all day Sunday, and then there's the one game on NBC at the end of the night on Sunday. So they're all over. Like, you don't have to have cable to or pay or go through a paywall to view these sports. But baseball, there is all regional networks. You got to have Yes Network. You got to have SNY. The only time they ever broadcasted on terrestrial television is the World Series.
Well, and on weekends, yeah.
Yeah, so most of the games I'm seeing are MLB Network, like the nationally televised games, ESPN here and there, MLB Network, or what's the other one I'm forgetting? FS1. There we go.
FS1, right.
So if you don't have cable, you don't have access to any of that stuff. Even the local teams. The Mets may have a game on Pix 11 maybe once every 30 games. But, you know, if you don't have SNY, you're missing the rest of the season.
Yeah.
The Yankees don't come on terrestrial television at all.
Right.
So if you're a Yankee fan, if you don't have Yes Network, you're out of luck. So, I mean, the exposure is a big problem. So I feel like that's another reason, because it's not readily accessible. But as far as the state of the sport, I enjoy baseball the most. I feel like, with the exception of maybe who should get into the Hall of Fame and who doesn't,
Right.
That's the one part of baseball, that and the lack of diversity with African Americans, what I don't like, because I don't believe, because the sports writers didn't vote this guy with an X amount of votes in his second or third year eligibility, that he can never get in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of guys that, like in basketball, you always see the deserving guys always get in.
Right.
Football, the deserving guys always get in. Baseball, and I had this conversation in a Facebook group, so maybe I'll say it to you and you'll probably agree with me. A guy like Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
There is
100%.
no absolute way that a guy who was an all-star 11 consecutive years, he was an MVP twice, he's got gold gloves and silver sluggers, and you don't put him in the Hall. Why? Because he played for the Braves at a time when the Braves couldn't win anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Hall of Fames, yes, these are team sports, but Hall of Fame should be based on individual statistics.
I thought that's what it was.
Like, unlike the argument, you want to talk about MVP awards. Oh, well, the guy's team didn't win. That's understandable. But for the Hall of Fame, a lot of guys like Kenny Lofton, how he's not in the Hall of Fame, he's a stolen base king. Beyond me. Guys like Omar Vizquel, not in the Hall of Fame. As much as I don't agree with his political views, guys like Kurt Schilling, not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like, it's wrong. And, you know, if you don't get X amount of votes, even if you don't get in, you're excluded. Look at this year. We have no Major League Hall of Famers going in this year. Where have you ever heard the Naismith Hall of Fame or the football
Not
Hall
having
of Fame
any
in Canton,
candidates. Yeah.
not having any inductions?
Right.
That's odd to me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then also baseball is so political, man. Like Pete Rose, you should just let him in.
But that's my problem with baseball, is that they operate like they're this holier than thou sport when they're actually the most controversial. They're the dirtiest sport that's ever existed in our country. And they need to start to wake up and realize that what they do or how they do things is not the right way.
Yeah, like I will give them some credit though. Like when they said that they're going to acknowledge the Negro Leagues as being a major league.
Yeah, look how long it took though.
It did take them egregiously long, and I do have an issue with when they were campaigning for Buck O'Neil to get in the Hall of Fame, and they weren't having it. That to me was a crime. But I do believe that, and it's funny because in the 60s there were like independent leagues that were recognized as major leagues, but they didn't want to acknowledge the Negro Leagues. So, but then again, that was all in a way off time before you or I were ever thought of. But
right.
I mean, at least I give Rob Manfred some kudos for that. I believe the league is under a good direction with him as the commissioner. I like that he pulled the All-Star game out of Atlanta.
I'm warming up to Rob Manfred, but I'm not gonna give him his flowers yet.
I mean, I don't think he'll go down as I think the greatest baseball commissioner in history is Bud Selig, but that's my opinion. But no, I think baseball. I do agree with you that they do think that they are holier than thou, because they do make some decisions. Say, regardless of how you feel about Roberto Alomar, I don't think the man should have been banned from baseball.
Right.
But like especially and that's another thing. They love to ban people from the sport.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they think that they're holier than thou.
You don't hear that in any other, like, well, in the NFL you get guys who are permanently ineligible, but like Roger Goodell doesn't go around and just be like banned.
You're banned. Like, it's just they love, like I said, I hate the way they operate, because it just comes off as very pompous. Baseball is a pompous sport. And that's probably why a lot of people don't watch it. It's because of the politics. It's because people like you and me are not prevalent in the sport. But it's also very pompous. Because as much as I respect Bud Selig, as much as you said that Bud Selig is the greatest commissioner in baseball history, Bud Selig disrespected one of the greatest baseball players that ever played this game in such a way that I could never forgive.
Who?
Barry Bonds.
How did he disrespect him, if I may ask? What did you see as the...
You don't remember when he broke the home run record?
Because he didn't go to the game.
Right. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, but I mean,
listen. Here's the thing, bro. Whether you respect the man or not,
the man's he's a proven cheater, though,
bro. Your job as a commissioner is to be the face of your game, and for you to not give the man his due, no matter how you feel about it, you have to do your job. Because at the end of the day, this is the whole thing. You want to say he's a cheater? I'm gonna say that it wasn't illegal to take.
Here's my opinion on Bonds, and I had this debate.
Hold on, wait. Let me get my point, and you can go.
Go ahead.
The Astros are cheaters.
Absolutely,
big time cheaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't ban the Astros organization, did they?
They banned some executives. They can never work in baseball again.
But the franchise still exists, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Barry Bonds played in an era where Mark McGwire took steroids, Sammy Sosa took steroids, plenty other people were taking steroids.
Even our beloved Mike Piazza.
I'm not gonna go there. But Barry Bonds said, "Okay, you don't want to give me my flowers. I was Mr. 500 before this, for Mr. 400 before this. Nobody wanted to talk about me. I'm not getting all these commercials. I don't have this home run chase where everybody's looking at Sammy Sosa. He's the best thing since sliced bread. Mark McGwire, who's been taking steroids since he got into the league, all of a sudden he's America's darling. And I'm sitting here in San Francisco. I'm not getting my respect. You want to see what somebody going to look like when they take some juice? Wait, hold my beer." And that's exactly what he did. So you can't. Here's the thing with Bud Selig with me. You can't give Barry Bonds flack for praise that you gave McGwire and Sosa for saving your sport in 98. It saved your sport. If it wasn't for the steroids, we probably wouldn't have the baseball that we have now. We wouldn't have the revenue dollars. We wouldn't have the personal, the TV, the personal private TV deals for these teams. None of this shit would exist unless it was for the summer of 98. And what powered the summer of 98? The steroids. So my thing is, yeah, people want to go look at it as a moral issue. But if it wasn't illegal, who cares? Who cares? If Barry Bonds played now while the substance is banned and it's illegal, yes, he's a cheater. You can't vilify somebody for using something that wasn't illegal. Think about it.
But do you realize that all those names you named, they're not in the hall?
They should be.
I wouldn't put them in the hall.
Why? Numbers are numbers, bro.
All right, and numbers are numbers, but look who kept up with them. Griffey never took a substance ever.
You don't know that.
And he never tested positive.
Okay, there you go. So we don't know that. That's what I'm saying. Just because he never tested positive don't mean he never took it. I'm not saying that Griffey take anything. I'm not saying that he's a whatever. I'm just saying that if somebody never tested positive, who knows if they would have used or not? We don't know that. The entire era has a black cloud over it. So why would you single out one guy from the other? Because you don't know. You really don't know. It's like back in the 70s and the 80s. Guys were taking methamphetamines just to stay on the field. Was it legal? Was it illegal?
Nah, it had to be illegal because
it wasn't.
Keith Hernandez was snorting coke in the dugout.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people were taking methamphetamines like it was Skittles. I've heard stories of there was a bowl of I can't remember what they used to call the bowl of methamphetamines. It had different colors in it. That's why they call it Skittles. Like,
There were speedballs.
There you go. This is what I'm saying. This is what was a part of the game. But all of a sudden, you can look at those guys as their heroes, and they're the patriarchs, and they're the pillars of this franchise or this game. But Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and these people, no, they can't get in the hall. They can't get in. Come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? Put them in. If you want to put a plaque and say these guys played in the steroid era, you have your own opinion to be able to say whatever the hell you want about them, but they deserve to be in because the numbers are there. The numbers are there. You can't deny 762 homers. Can't deny it. You can't deny 600 plus home runs that Sammy Sosa hit. You can't deny all the home runs that Mark McGwire hit. You can't deny it. A-Rod has 697 home runs career, right?
Yep.
He got to get in too. A-Rod's one of the greatest baseball players I've ever seen walk the planet. But because he took steroids, they're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
See, but here's the thing, because I know you said you didn't want to get into it, but Piazza is the only one who openly admitted to it. Yeah, I did it.
So why is he in?
Because he openly admitted to it. The rest of them are like, oh, no, I never did that.
But what?
Remember,
what does it matter,
because
Alfred,
baseball prides itself on integrity.
That's the problem.
He fessed up to doing the wrong thing, so they rewarded him with a spot in the hall.
That's BS. It's BS.
You know what else? You know what else is BS? When they called Sammy Sosa to Congress to ask him if he took steroids, and all of a sudden he couldn't speak English. That's BS.
I respect it. Hey, listen, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's terrible.
I can't hear you. Look, Rafael Palmeiro, one of the greatest left-handed swingers of all time, right? Not in the hall. Stop.
Yeah, and when they called Rafael Palmeiro to Congress, did you take steroids? You remember what his response was?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you not know if you took the substance or not? Like, come on.
But my thing is this. Lawrence Taylor's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor took everything under the blue moon.
Yeah, but in football...
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's what I'm saying. It's okay here, but it's not okay here. How is it different? Cheating is cheating, right?
Cheating is cheating, but at the same time, you got like football, there's a reason why there's a dark side of football now on Vice. Like football has a lot of,
So does baseball.
So does baseball, but baseball is trying to sweep everything under the rug.
Right, and that's why it's BS. You just said it. They're trying to sweep everything under the rug. You can't hide those skeletons that are coming out of your closet to the point where you can't close the door. Baseball's dirty. Just accept it and move on. But allow these people to have their time in the sun. They were great players. For you to not allow them in, it's BS. It really is.
That Balco scandal was crazy in its day.
It really is, bro. They may end up not having David Ortiz in the Hall of Fame, right? Because his name came on some report. Give me a break. David Ortiz is beloved in Boston. He gave them 3 World Series championships, or was it 2? And he's not gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Come on, man.
Yeah, but he's beloved everywhere except in his home country of Dominican Republic.
That's all right. That's all right. He don't gotta go back there. But this is my point, bro. Like baseball has to stop this. They gotta stop.
I agree with you.
They gotta stop thinking that they're holier than thou. Because at the end of the day, it's ruining their sport. Do you think that people that love Barry Bonds, that love Sammy Sosa, that love Mark McGwire, all of these other guys, that they wouldn't be excited that these guys are in the Hall of Fame? If Barry Bonds got into the Hall of Fame, that'd be one of the most televised Hall of Fame inductions ever. Agreed. But because they're we have to honor our mandate here. We don't want them. Get the hell out of here. What makes baseball writers holier than thou? Give me.
I don't know if you recall this, but even baseball has been so self-righteous that There was a time that Willie Mays took a job as a greeter in Atlantic City in the casino, and they banned him from baseball because they felt that a Hall of Fame baseball player they saw gambling as a dirty thing, and that he shouldn't be.
And we're talking about
Willie Mays. Yeah,
one of the most purest athletes in the history of the world. Willie Mays, they're gonna ban.
Yeah, they banned him. His ban got overturned by the commissioner that preceded that followed the commissioner that banned him.
But you understand what I'm saying, Alfred? That's all I'm saying is that you can't you gotta let these guys in. You have to. You really have to. I'm tired of seeing guys like no disrespect to Craig Biggio. I don't want to see Craig Biggio get into the Hall of Fame over Barry Bonds. I just don't.
Oh, now hold on. I
just don't.
Anybody who's got 3,000 career hits should auto be in the Hall of Fame. That's an automatic Hall of Famer. The guy got 3,000 hits is hard.
Yes, correct. I understand that. I completely agree with you. A-Rod has 3,000 hits, right?
I gotta fact check that real quick.
Go ahead and look at that. He has 3,000 hits.
Let's see, Mr. Rodriguez. Usually I'm up on my baseball knowledge, but
3,000 hits. Check it. When he got his 3,000 hit, nobody cared. Nobody did anything. That's what I'm talking about baseball.
He got his 3,000 hit in 2015, yeah?
Yes. I know. Because I'm a big A-Rod fan. I know, trust me. 3,000 hits, 500 home runs gets you into the Hall of Fame. Put them in, Alfred. I don't care about how. Listen, here's the thing. Let's play revisionist history here, right? Let's be hypothetical here. Barry Bonds doesn't take the steroids. He doesn't have the 5 years of just unstoppable. You just can't pitch to him, right?
Right.
His numbers still hold up. He still ends up hitting 600 home runs. He still ends up having 500 stolen bases. They would have not put Barry Bonds into the first ballot because of his attitude to the media, right or wrong?
You're right.
So how is it right? It's bullshit. It's actually bullshit. The dude's numbers hold up in regards to him being one of the greatest players of all time, but the writers would not put him in because of his behavior or how his relationship was with them. So is it more of a personal issue or more of an accomplishment of what he did in his career? It has nothing to do with how I feel about you. Do your numbers hold up? The answer is yes.
Okay.
That's my point. And all of these guys' numbers hold up.
Baseball is the only sport where you hear people talk about asterisk this and asterisk that.
It's nonsense. The only time that an asterisk, in my opinion, and I put this on YouTube, you know the video I'm talking about.
Yep.
Is the entire, era between the point before Jackie Robinson got put in 1947. So anything before 1947 to me needs an asterisk. Because if you don't allow a race of people or many races of people to play in your sport,
you're not playing against the best.
You're not playing against the best in the world. So he deserves an asterisk. But God forbid I say that. Oh my goodness, no, Babe Ruth. You see what I'm talking about? They like to pick and choose what's egregious from what's not egregious. And the steroid era, to me, in my opinion, was an era. It wasn't egregious to me. It was actually a pretty fun era to watch baseball, honestly.
Yeah. Multiple home runs every night, high scoring games.
Hey, home run chase. You had Barry Bonds knocking balls into the Bay Area, the Bay Area time.
The McCovey Cove,
McCovey Cove. That was great. I didn't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
They were so scared of Barry Bonds. There were a couple times he got intentionally walked with the bases loaded.
Bro, there was a season. It was right after the 73 home run season. He had 262 walks in a season. He had 178 of those be unintentional or intentional, intentional walks. 170 plus intentional walks. And he still hit 45 home runs. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that was he struck fear into the heart of
the man. I'm telling you, There's only two guys when I think about baseball that are better than Barry Bonds. One's Willie Mays, and the other one, I think Griffey is up there, but those are the only two.
You wouldn't put Derek Jeter in that conversation?
Hell no. Derek Jeter couldn't shine Barry Bonds' shoes on a Sunday.
Wow.
Barry Bonds was the guy, bro. Like before he was Mr. Steroid guy,
When he played in Pittsburgh, yeah.
He used to steal bases. He used to hit home runs. He had 3 MVPs before the roids. So what are we talking about here?
I don't know. I guess baseball just can't overlook that he used the needle.
Right, and that's why they'll never be the sport where they'll never be where they want to be.
I think if he would have came out right and was like, "Yeah, I did it," he would have instead of denying it, I think they would have considered, because again, Piazza said, "Yeah, I did it," and he's in Cooperstown.
Why is Mark McGwire not in?
He put up a fight.
Well, he admitted it though.
He admitted it. He admitted it because he was already caught. Because I don't know.
It's still in the mission.
He had it in wide open view of his locker when he was getting interviewed by the media, and they asked him about it. If they'd never asked him about it, he would have never said anything about it.
Listen, I'm not gonna tell you what the hell this is. I'm not gonna tell you what that. Listen, here's the thing. I understand the fact. The only part about steroids that I don't like is that when kids think that it's okay to use it, that's when it gets tricky to me. That's when I don't want it, because children are not supposed to be taking that.
Nope.
Like, it kills kids. We've heard numerous reports about it destroying kids. I understand that. But when a grown-ass man that's making $275 million and he feels that he has to live up to that contract, and maybe he takes some steroids to live up to that contract, like Alex Rodriguez did, I don't blame him. I don't. When you get back-to-back contracts that's $500 million, I don't blame you for taking steroids. Because had he not performed how they expected him to perform with that big-ass contract, or those 2 consecutive big contracts, they would have eviscerated this man, right? He took the steroids to make them happy.
And also upkeep his performance, so he didn't.
Yes, it was twofold. Absolutely, upkeep his performance so he can actually say that he lived up to his contract, right?
Yep.
But now you're gonna look at him as if he's the problem. No. The problem is in the mirror. That everybody that thinks that these guys are superheroes and they're gods and they're giants and all of these things, no, they're just regular people that have the same type of insecurities that you do, and they just have more money than you do. That's all it is. The pressure's the same. Pressure's probably even more now. So why wouldn't he take it? Why wouldn't he take it?
So if Lindor tested positive for anabolic steroids, you're okay with that?
Right. What I'm saying is that right now it's illegal. It's banned.
Oh, well, you're saying because you could have got away with it back in the
right. If he was playing back in the steroid era where it wasn't banned and it wasn't illegal, I don't care. Like, if you take it now, okay, cool. You know the rules now. It's illegal. They're testing for it. You do it now. You got yourself to blame. That's why I don't feel bad for Robinson Cano. I don't feel bad for him. You know the rules. You understand that it's in play now. You still want to go ahead and do it.
And not only that, he's a 2-time offender.
Right, there you go. Like, so this is not your first time.
He gets caught one more time. He gets hit with the ban. So.
Right, you're banned. You're banned. Like, it's that's my thing. It's like baseball to me. It's just very, very hypocritical. It really is. You made billions of dollars off of these men, but they don't have the right to be in your Hall of Fame. Interesting. Very interesting. So you can be able to exploit them for their talents, and they did it for you to better your sport. but you're not going to put them in the Hall of Fame.
I don't think they did it to better their sport. I think they did it for their individual achievement.
You know what I mean.
I know. I get what you mean. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, of course. Like, people play the sport to better their careers, to make them better, but they also do it to elevate their sport. You know, that's why you play this game at a high level. You want your sport to compete with other sports and be the best. You want that. They did that. And then what do they get in return? Oh, cheater! He's a cheater. Let's ban him. Let's ban him. Let's get the pitchforks out and let's ban him. Get out of here with that, man. He's a grown ass man. They took steroids because it wasn't illegal, and they did well. They did well. Roger Clemens, dominant. Barry Bonds, dominant. Sammy Sosa, dominant.
Hey, we don't like Roger Clemens out here. You
put him in. Put him in. I'm okay with that because Roger Clemens was a jerk. He threw it at Piazza. I understand that.
Piazza should have took that bat and hit him upside the head. But
Piazza wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a fighter. But I understand it. Put him in. Put him in. Put him in. Put all the steroid guys in one time. Bam. One time. One ballot. Bonds, Clemens, Sosa, Palmeiro, all of them. That'd be the only Hall of Fame class I watch because those are my guys. They're my guys. I love that era of baseball. I'm not gonna turn my back on it. The reason why there's a Mike Trout is because of those guys.
That is true.
So the reason why there's a what's his name, a Tatis and a Bryce Harper, all because of those guys.
Well, no, Tatis is here because of
listen, his dad played baseball. What I'm saying is that.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say Miguel Tejada and Omar Garcia Parra.
But Miguel Tejada was a steroid user, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Okay, then. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you talking about some of the greatest players that played this game. Miguel Tejada was must-see TV. He was great.
Yeah, him and
Put him
Eric
in.
Chavez together. Yep.
Put him in. That's all I'm saying. Like, all the guys that you can remember back in the day, Alfred. All the great players. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, Barry hey, whatever. Put them in. Put them all in. It doesn't change my opinion of them. The Astros, on the other hand, that cheated in that type of situation, okay. You guys deserve everything that you get. Cheaters. You cheat.
If they ever played the Mets and the Mets didn't beat them on the first pitch of the game, I would be.
That's what I'm saying. But in regards to those guys, no. We don't never hear about Babe Ruth and those guys with asterisks. None of them. Whitey Ford, none of those people, or whoever the hell played back then. I don't know who the hell played back then, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have no asterisks next to them.
The Lou Gehrig's.
They all are put on this pedestal of the great solids. These guys' numbers, they'll never get Come on, bro.
The Mickey Mantles.
It was a white league. What we talking about here? So that's my baseball, my baseball plea, my spiel. That is my thing.
You want the heroes from the steroid era in the Hall.
Put them in. Give them their flowers, man. Give them their flowers. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because they allowed my baseball fandom to grow. They were the reasons for it. I love those guys.
Yeah.
I love watching them play baseball. They didn't cheat the game to me. They made the game better. They made the game better, to be honest with you. They made the game better. Because it didn't stop the guys like Derek Jeter to get into the Hall of Fame. It didn't stop them from being great. It didn't overshadow those guys. None of those. Here's the crazy part. All of those guys that I mentioned, how many World Series do they have?
Bonds has none. McGuire has one. Sosa has none.
That's what I'm saying. Derek Jeter has what? 4? 5?
No, Jeter's got 5.
That's what I'm saying. So Jeter, his clean career, got 5 championships, did it the right way and all that nonsense. Okay, cool. Those guys had all the individual statistics. They don't have World Series to show for it. So
Well, McGuire and Clemens do.
yeah, but what you know what I'm saying? Like in regards to like the totality, they don't
Yeah,
have the
they don't,
rings
no.
to kind of like to say, hey, they cheated the game and look, they won. Listen, the game is the game. Like just put them in. Just put them in. So listen, Manfred, if you're listening, just put him in. Put him in. Tell your writers to get off their high horse. Stop the nonsense.
Well, they can't put them in now. They've been off the ballot for so long.
Well, they needs to be the commissioner can be able to make an exception. He can.
He can if he wants to. Yeah.
If he wants to. That's what I'm saying. Put him in. Pete Rose belongs in. All
Yeah,
of those
put him
people,
in.
they all belong in the Hall of Fame.
Pete Rose finished his career with over 4,200 hits. That'll never be done ever again.
Never be broken, bro.
4,235.
It'll never be broken.
Again.
It'll never be broken. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. This is what I'm saying. It's BS. It's really BS, bro. But you know, that's our baseball spiel. So let's go ahead and go into rapid fire, my man. And I'm gonna ask you some questions about some players, and you're gonna tell me who you think is better. I'm not gonna argue with you. This is your opinion. And then you know, I'm curious to see what you say. So let's start with baseball. Better pitcher: Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver.
Oh, why you do this to me, Barry?
Both Mets.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Nolan Ryan.
Okay, Nolan Ryan. That's good. Let's see. I'm gonna give you another tough one here. Better pitcher: Pedro Martinez or Clayton Kershaw?
Damn, that's rough. I mean, I love Kershaw, but Pedro played in a steroid era. I give it to Pedro.
That's fair. Better pitcher: Max Scherzer or Kurt Schilling? Very similar pitchers.
I'll go with Max.
Nice. Okay. Better hitter: Rafael Palmeiro or let's see, Craig Biggio.
Palmeiro.
You going Palmeiro? Okay, cool. Better baseball player, overall baseball player: Willie Mays, Frank Robinson.
Willie Mays.
Nice. Better baseball player: Derek Jeter or trying to think of a good shortstop. Oh, let's just go here. Cal Ripken Jr.
Jeter by a narrow margin.
Wow. Better hitter: Barry Bonds or Ken Griffey Jr.?
You're gonna disagree, but I'm going with the kid.
Now listen, I love the kid, so either way is fine with me. I love Ken Griffey Jr. Shouts to Ken Griffey Jr. Let's see. Better team: the 95 Braves or the 2013 Giants?
95 Braves.
I would like to ask why.
Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox.
That's fair. Okay, let's see. Let's go to football now. Better running back: Marshall Faulk or LaDainian Tomlinson?
LT.
Nice. Better wide receiver: Randy Moss or Terrell Owens?
Randy Moss.
Interesting. Better tight end: Shannon Sharp or Tony Gonzalez?
Tony Gonzalez.
That you said that quick.
Tony Gonzalez.
Let's see. Better quarterback, Joe Montana or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Interesting. Okay, let's go to baseball. Basketball. Better scorer. We're just talking about scorer here. Michael Jordan or James Harden?
I'm going with the GOAT. I'm going with MJ.
Nice. Better pure passer, Magic Johnson or LeBron James?
Magic.
Okay. Better point guard, Jason Kidd or Chris Paul?
J Kidd.
Okay. Better floor leader or floor general, John Stockton or Steve Nash?
John Stockton.
You going old school. Let's see. Better dunker, Dominique Wilkins or Zion Williamson?
Sheesh. You know, that's rough because the dunks in the 80s compared to the dunks of now don't compare.
Right.
I go with Zion.
You going with Zion?
I'm going with Zion. Yeah.
What a slap in the face to Dominique.
Hey man,
but that's fine. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Listen, I'm a short story. I've watched every dunk contest in history. And those early dunk contests in like 85, 86 are some snooze fests, man.
Oh my God, stop it. Just stop it. Okay, let's move on. We're not gonna argue about this now. Let's see. Better defender, Kawhi Leonard or Scottie Pippen?
Scottie.
Okay. Better shooter, Ray Allen or Reggie Miller?
Ray Allen.
Okay. Better impact wrestler, Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin? We're not talking about in ring. We're just talking about impact on the sport.
Hogan.
Going Hogan. All right, man. That's all for rapid fire. My man Alfred, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was fun. Yeah, go ahead.
I say I appreciate being here, man. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. Let everybody know where they can find you and what's going on in the future for you, man.
So again, the Metropolitan Report, underscore in between each word, and RAPLAB Pod, all one word. We got RAPLAB TV on the way for the visuals. And for those of you Met fans and baseball fans, I recently did a video on David Peterson that a lot of people thought was very funny. There are more videos coming on the way. The next video should drop either tomorrow or Monday, where we focus on, again, the king of the RBI fielder's choice, my man Pat Mazika. So that's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. This was fun. Like we were on for a while, but we covered a lot of topics and it was a lot of fun. So, keep doing what you're doing, my man, and I'll definitely talk to you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man.
I'd like to thank my man Alfred for coming on the show. Shouts to him. The RAPLAB is doing well. Metropolitan Report is doing well. So keep grinding. Keep doing your thing. But listen, don't talk about Floyd Mayweather no more. Don't talk about him being no GOAT. Nah, he ain't no GOAT. Your pops had it right. Coming up after the break, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. On a Saturday. It's All Even.
This is Cigar Gents and Gals. Just want to give a shout out to All Even Podcast, the best sports podcast out there. Keep up the amazing work. Also check us out at cigargentsandgals.com. We're everyday apparel for cigar smokers. Let's get it.
What's going on? What's up with you? It's your boy, the Candyman, the ALFRE to the D. It's your boy, Alfred from the RAPLAB Podcast.
And it's the one and only True G. Just call me the QG from the RAPLAB Podcast.
And you tuned in to All Even with Barry Grant.
Boy, that shit crazy.
Welcome back, y'all. So without further ado, The greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. We pick candidates on Tuesday and Saturday, and then we pick the winner on that Saturday show. So, who's my winner? May I have the drum roll, please? And the winner is the two men that had the fight at the Rockies-Padres game. These two gentlemen are my... Because, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you go to a baseball game, and you're there to have fun. You're there with your family, you're there with your kids, you're there to watch a good game. In no situation are you supposed to be wrestling, fighting, any of these things at any sporting event. But these two men decided that they were not going to pay attention to the game, that they were going to have their own battle royale in the stands. Let's start with the dude that threw the punch. You can't come to a game with that type of energy, bro. Like, just don't do it. Like, if you come in a fight, just stay home. Just stay home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you out there, like, trying to prove a point. All right. You knock son out. But it's a baseball game. Like, there's kids watching this, man. There's kids watching. Can't do this. You already know that dude probably had about, like, 7 drinks. Probably was smoking, too, because, you know, it's in Colorado, so they can be able to toke up when they want to. It's I'm laughing because how he swung with such anger. Like he knew him. It was crazy. And for the other guy, if you weren't prepared to fight, why would you stand up? Why would you stand up like you was trying to fight? Come on, man. That's scrapping 101. Have your hands up. Baseball games and sporting events, they're supposed to be unforgettable experience. Like, you'll never forget it, right? However, this particular individual got knocked clean out. And I'm sure he doesn't remember anything from that night. Yo, man, you was at the baseball game, was I? I don't remember that at all. I remember standing up, some guy coming up to me, and that's the last thing I remember. But I don't know if I was watching the game from my house. I don't know if I was at somebody's house. I don't know if I was at the bar. Nah, we were at the game. And see, what's going to happen now, too, is that he going to go home. His wife is going to be embarrassed. Like, yo, you let somebody knock you out at a baseball game, fam? So he's going to be embarrassed to sue the other guy for assault. You watch. That's just like when you in a fight as a kid, somebody trips you in front of all the kids, everybody's laughing at you, and you start to go after the guy that's laughing instead of the dude that just tripped you. Like, nah, don't do that. Just because you're embarrassed, don't try to attack me. Like, yo, accept your beating like a man. You know, have somebody have some smelling salt, put that on you, you know, and just try to forget. Try to forget that you got knocked out at a baseball game. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, that guy, I would like to see fight Jake Paul. He's a one-hitter quitter. I like guys like that. That could be able to be in a scrap, take one swing, night over, he could be able to go home. So, Jake Paul, if you're watching that video, I suggest you call him. Don't call none of these other washed up dudes that can't fight. Have a conversation with this man right here, because he's with the smoke. So for Philo Beto and Sleepy Brown, you guys got to hold the L right now. But you both are winners for a Dummy of the Week. That's all for this show. That's all for this week. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Until then, stay safe, stay cool. Peace. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at All Even Podcast. Listen to the show on Podbean, Amazon Music, Spotify, and wherever you find your podcasts available. And check out my YouTube channel, All Even Podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button.